everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I know that I didn't post any videos last month, and that was because I was sick the whole month. I had a sinus infection that wouldn't go away, and I sounded awful, and I probably still have a little bit of crud, but I'm doing a lot better, and I am participating in AdventureApril, which is another art challenge prompt. I wanted to participate in this one because my friends were participating in it, and also I wanted to challenge myself by trying new things as well. So with AdventureApril, the focus is on fantasy art and creating characters and scenes to kind of populate your little world. And if you're a fan of my artwork, you know that I'm very influenced by josei manga, and I like to do slice of life stories and dramas, but I do really enjoy fantasy. I just don't really draw it a lot, and I certainly don't draw animal characters either. Well, aside from Frida, but she's more, you know, like a modern day cat. She's not a fantasy cat. But anyway, I took on this challenge because I wanted to try new things, and also I kind of feel like trying out the kidlit style is will help me grow a little bit artistically. I just really wanted to try new things. Can I not say that enough? This particular piece is the weapons salesperson prompt, and my little character there is Pepper the Proper. She's the little kitten wearing the scouting badges, and she's speaking with the weapons salesperson. While I am inking this, I will share that I tried a new Ray Friendon brush. Let me check and see the name of that brush. Okay, it is the Inker Analog Gritty and Realistic. That's the one I'm using. I wanted to, another goal of mine was to try out more of the brushes, because I certainly haven't tried everything yet. And I really liked this brush. I don't know if you can tell, maybe on a segment where I zoom in, it has kind of like a brush pen quality about it. It has a little bit of translucency, and it has a little bit of texture as well. I thought it was a pretty nice brush overall. So my inking here is pretty straightforward. It's just pretty basic inking. I also want to mention that AdventureApril is still early in the month, so if you didn't catch it at the beginning of the month, you can still catch up and you can still join in. Yeah, so if you like this idea, go ahead and join us. I will be sure to put the link to the organizer's Twitter thread about AdventureApril down in the information area, so if you want to participate, you can look up the prompts and have fun with the rest of us with a little adventure world. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about my thought process going into this piece. For one thing, I did start inking the background on a separate layer because I had originally intended to play around with the inks a little bit for the background, maybe colorize them a little bit. And I had intended from the start to treat the background with desaturated paler colors, so it would make the characters in the foreground pop a bit more. You will of course see this later whenever I actually start laying in the background colors, but yeah, I had seen some other artists doing this same technique, and basically I just wanted to try it out for myself. I did actually wind up using the perspective rulers on this to get the rug and the walls and stuff to come out right. I could have done it freehand like the rest, but I was a wimp, let's face it. But I don't know, I did freehand the arch and stuff, which doesn't look that fabulous, but who cares? This was just, you know, a quick thing I was doing. I mean, these challenges, you have to be quick, and you have to get your work done in basically like 24 hours. Well, unless you started early. And now I'm rambling, so let's move on. So, yeah, color palette. I just used the same color palette that I have been using for all of Adventure April. So you'll be seeing me referring to color palettes in the background, and specifically Pepper's color palette. And yeah. So basically, because this has to be done in such a short amount of time, I'm just going with a very basic color scheme, you could say. Well, as you know, I already have my color scheme defined, and then basically I'm just flatting in the colors, and I don't do any shading or anything because there just isn't time. So I'm sorry you don't actually get to see any of me painting per se, but I don't know, maybe you can glean something from this anyway. So maybe while I'm doing the really amusing job of flatting, sorry, no offense to flatters, you do like wonders, but while I'm doing this, well, let's face it, it's definitely boring to watch. While I'm doing this flatting, I'll talk a little bit about the image, and that is specifically like the comedy points, is that the cat people, they have kitty switches for their weapons. I did this on purpose, and some people have noticed it and other people really haven't, but yeah, I mean, feathers on the end of a stick, isn't that just what all cats love? And bells, they love to hear ching ching, and fuzzy things, and little birdie floppers, and all that stuff. Also, I would like to point out that I did shred the curtains in the background at kitten height, you know, just for funsies. Oh, and back to color palette, this is important. I was having a lot of trouble deciding what color I wanted the salesperson's dress to be. I ended up going with a saffron color because I thought it would be warm and pop well with Pepper's pink. But actually, in the end, and I didn't get a video of me changing this because I changed it right after, I ended up changing it to like a sky blue, and I liked it like a lot better. So there's that. Oh, and here I am starting to desaturate the background. I basically chose colors from the foreground and applied them to the background, and then desaturated them and lightened them up a bit. I did tinker around with the wall a little bit. It was difficult to decide whether to go light or dark. I ended up going extra light. At about this time, I think, yeah, I decided to make the shopkeep a little bit like a Siamese, because her hands and head weren't gonna pop from the background, so I thought if I gave her a little bit of black sooty paint that she would pop out a little bit more, and I think she does. Also, I should mention while I'm filling in the background and desaturating things is that if you want to follow along on all of my Adventure April art, you can follow my Twitter, my artist Facebook page, or my Instagram, and all of those should be appearing here shortly. Yeah, because I've been posting them in those 3 places every day, and I am going to endeavor to follow through and finish this whole challenge. I want to have 31 adventure drawings, so we'll see how that goes. So basically, I reused a lot of colors for the background. Basically, they're just a combination of some sort of pink or that pale bluish green. And for the carpet, I wanted it to have some sort of design. And so I ended up making little designs on there. It was just really kind of slapdash and not particularly in perspective, but I don't know, I kind of like how it turned out anyway. Then, because this didn't fit the whole page, I just decided I was going to try to make like a little frame for it, because I think it looks better whenever you're posting the artwork on Instagram and such, rather than just having everything fade off randomly at certain ends. I did start playing around with the inks here, and I lightened all the inks of the background up just like I said I would, so that it helped push the background further back. Because, I mean, I think you can see right now that the figures really pop because the background is just so very desaturated and very pale. I added a little bit of a crowd outside the door, just very simply, and I used a little bit of the smudge brush on that. I have a few that I downloaded that were interesting. I did also try textures, because textures can be fun and add a little bit of depth to a simple piece, but in the end, I just really wasn't liking any of the things that were going on with the textures, so I ended up dumping all of the textures. If textures are your jam, by all means experiment with them. They are definitely a lot of fun. And here I am adding the verbiage using Clip Studio Paint. Obviously, it's the one program that I love. Well, it has some flaws, let's face it. Anyway, here I go. I'm adjusting the borders again. I think it ended up being a little more towards the square end of things, so it fit a little better on Instagram. Instagram is the one pain in the butt, isn't it? Because it's always got to be square. Well, a little less so much now that they allow you to post other sizes, but anyway. I digress. Doing the last bit of details, probably gonna pop my signature on here, and then that's pretty much gonna be it. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join us with Adventure April.